and all of your teammates are like, we need the dragon, we need to fight with the dragon, and I'm telling you, just trade and go for the herald instead. But don't take bad team fights just for the sake of taking a team fight. I know all those Timmies are gonna cry, where's the dragon? Jungler, no dragon! Where's dragon? Dragon, no, no dragon! No, surrender! FF5! Oh my god, I just want to surrender! Oh, jungler, so bad! Why no dragon? Enemy to dragon! Hey, what's up guys, Darkbreaker here, and in today's video, this is part 1 of the series of how to be a good, and then the role, how to be a good jungler, how to be a good mid laner, how to be a good baron laner, how to be ADC, and how to be a good support. And if you guys enjoy the series, then definitely make sure to leave a like and subscribe so I can see, okay, you guys are enjoying it, and write down in the comments what you guys would like to see and what you guys liked about the video. I have some bullet points that I want to talk about. This is mainly a macro guide. I've made 2 jungle guides beforehand, or even more, but the 2 big jungle guides I've made, I've talked about the pathing, about how to gank correctly, when to gank, how to focus on farming, etc. But this video is main focus about a macro guide. How do you play as a jungler the map correctly? I have some points that I want to read out. But before we're starting with that, I just wanna, I think some people might not be familiar who I am, and Darkbreaker, why do you think you can give some tips about that? I've reached Legend in Season 1, and I finished the season rank 2 in total, and I was rank 1. For a few days I was rank 1 during Legend, and I've reached Challenger almost every season since Season 1, so I think I have pretty good experience. I had multiple Challenger accounts at the same time. Nice flex, but maybe it gives me some credibility for some new viewers that don't know me, but I think the rank doesn't necessarily translate on how good you are. You can see by the gameplay how the person plays the game, how he controls the map, etc. How good he is as a player, mechanically and macro-wise. And macro-wise is more important than like mechanical stuff, because mechanical stuff is usually like, okay, you're very good on your one-trick pony, but if you're good macro-wise, you can play any champion and you can make any champion work, no matter what. That's why you see so many players that can they play a champion one time and they still do decent because they have the fundamental understanding. This is very important. So let's get started. I'm gonna read out some points and I'm gonna let the gameplay run in background. In some cases I will cut some clips in where I think this would be really nice showcase, but overall, you guys know me, there are too many clips for every single point. It's too hard to find everything, especially if I'm talking like for 30 minutes or something like that. Okay, how to be a good jungler, chat. How to be a good jungler, my viewers. Knowing what your champion can do. Knowing what your champion should do. Knowing your champion's weaknesses and strength and play around it is so important. Play around the winning condition. Very important. Don't take clown fiesta team fights. Take fights you can take. Or avoid fights you cannot win. Oh, it's spinning. And then afterwards, play the map correctly. Objective, snowball focused, and gold farming focus. High gold per minute. Don't follow donkeys. Very important. Don't follow donkeys, my friends. I also reached, oh yeah, so you can flex a bit more. I've reached Vanquisher this season with 1000 GPM, 80% win rate, and 9 KDA. Why is that important? That showcase that I'm joining the team fights as much as I can. I try to gank as much as I can. This sounds like a flex post, but I mean, honestly, it's very important. Performance is very important because performance affects your MMR, and the better your MMR is, the worse your teammates you're getting. But at the same time, the more LP you're getting, so it's a double-edged sword. Okay. My first point is knowing what your champion can do. So in this gameplay, for example, I'm playing Shyvana. Shyvana's a champion that can't really gank early game. So you want to focus on farming in this case. She is good at counter ganking, so you have to predict where the enemy jungler is gonna be. And obviously, when it comes down to where you're ganking and when you can take the scuttle, your lane priorities are also important. I've made 2 videos about that. You should check it out. Not gonna focus that much on priority, but more on what your champions can do. So Shyvana is a strong teamfight oriented champion. That can be good frontline, needs to focus on farming, not the greatest ganker. Then you have teamfight orientated champions that are weak in the early game. For example, Amumu is, or yeah, Amumu or even Morgana. These are very strong teamfight oriented champions that need to focus on farming, and they are not strong in the early game, especially like level 3, in comparison to strong early game champions like a Lee Sin, like a Jarvan, like a Ramos that are spam ganking. They want to spam gank. These are like high, fast-paced junglers. They just get level 2 and then they gank left, gank right, gank left, gank right. What do you have to do against them? Play safe in the laning phase. Don't overextend. Know where they are. These are 2 examples, for example, of like a champion that likes to gank a lot and a champion that likes to farm and likes to scale. Also, Gwen is a scaling champion. There are so many scaling champions. Yone, Gwen, Shyvana, Echo. These are slow paced in the early game and they need to focus on farming. So as a jungler, you need to understand what champion you are playing and what champion your opponent is playing. So you need to know, okay, can I go for the scuttle if I'm playing against a high fast paced jungler that is really strong in the early game, like a Lee Sin, a Jarvan, Sinchao? Can I contest the scuttle, or should I just go for the full clear instead? Try to farm safely, get the level 5 safely, instead of trying to contest anything that is not gonna work out. Mistake number 1 that a lot of players are doing, they don't understand what their champions can do. Next one, knowing what your champion should do. So, like I said, I mean, we can connect this with what I said beforehand with the fast-paced junglers like Lee Sin and Ramos. These are champions that need to snowball the game because they're falling off in the late game. Especially Lee Sin is falling off in the late game, is very strong in the early game. Kind of similar to Ramos, who wants to spam gank in the early game, because in the late game he's just a tank and obviously he still has the function of being a frontliner, but he's falling off and he relies on his teammates. Same for Lee Sin that is falling off in comparison to high scaling champions like a Shyvana that becomes a 1vs9 monster, or a Gwen 3 items, or Echo 3 items, who are becoming late game monsters. Same for Morgana. These are champions that are focusing on farming and are not good at ganking in the early game. So that's how you have to differentiate between junglers, what they should do. So you have gank-oriented champions and you have farm-oriented champions, and then there are some champions that can do both. Like they are not exceeding at one thing, but they can do both. I think that covers it. Hey, I'm pretty good at this. I'm doing this completely blind, by the way. I just have the bullet things right here. Knowing your champion's weaknesses and strength and play around it. Oh boy. So I've mentioned teamfight orientated champions. Weakness of teamfight orientated champions: their early game, skirmishes in the early game, getting invaded. These are problems of them. But they are strong in teamfights. They are excellent engagers, excellent teamfight initiators, excellent with AoE ultimates, like Amumu ultimate, boom, 5-man ultimate during the dragon teamfight. These are champions, they want to fight. They want those fights in the early game, especially for dragon or herald, 5 vs 5. They are exceeding at 5 vs 5 teamfights. But those high fast-paced junglers, they are usually not that strong in teamfights necessary. For example, what's a good example? Let's say I'm playing Evelyn. I'm playing Evelyn, I'm a high fast-paced jungler, I can spam gank, I can snowball. In the early game, I'm excellent at spam ganking, but my team fight is not necessarily the best in comparison to an Amumu that has a 5-man ultimate that can stun everyone. What do you do then? You, instead of going for that team fight, where the likelihood of you winning is not that high because the opponents have stronger team fight oriented champions, you just go for the Herald and you're trading instead. But we're going to talk about that one later. But it really depends, like, I think I will cover it later. I just want to focus on the champion itself right now. Let me think about other... Knowing your champion's weaknesses. We talked about those. I guess the thing is about those fast-paced junglers, usually they're not that insane in teamfights. Because they want to pick people off, unless you have Jarvan, who's also strong in teamfights. But the problem about him is that he's falling off in the late game. The best thing is, like, I could categorize every champion like into those, okay, you have the high fast-paced junglers, you have the teamfight orientated junglers, and then you have the mixed junglers. Like, they can do both at the same time, so it really depends. I think I've covered that one pretty well, to be fair. Next point would be play around the winning condition. What does that mean? Play around the person in your team that is doing well. I think that's the best tip I can give you guys. If you play around the person who is losing his lane 1v1 and you try to help him out, most of the times you will end up paying for it yourself. Let's say he's losing his lane, you try to gank him. What happens if you try a lane that is already ahead, like the enemy is already ahead, and the enemy jungler is counter ganking? Boom, you lose the game because they will end up getting 2 kills and they're snowballing. Or the enemy Baron laner, for example, the enemy Baron laner is winning hard, and he gets ahead so hard that he's even winning a 1 versus 2 situation because you're trying to help him, but your ally is too weak, and yourself, you're not strong enough to finish the guy off. So in that case, you're even more screwed. So better play around the person who's already winning the lane, and then get him ahead. That's the best case. Or there's another scenario. If you have a split pusher, for example, a lot of times I'm going to use the Herald to open up the turret for him, for example. So we can secure the first turret. Then he can always push in the wave. And then he can also rotate. Like, he can pressure the top wave. I open up the map for him. And then he can rotate. So that's a case of, okay, I'm playing around my split pusher because he's doing well, for example. Another case would be, okay, my ADC, my Draven is super fat. And Draven is a very snowbally champion. Play out on Draven, and he's gonna get ahead, get the turret, and then he's gonna push in the wave, dominate the lane, and then he can rotate and snowball even more from there on. And there was another case where I was playing around in Legendary queue. If you know you have a good player, for example, I had a top 10 immortal player. I knew this must be Kiss because he is on his Zoe. So I played around him. I ganked him twice, he got 1 kill, and then he just snowballed the map, and he's just rotating with me, ganking left and right. That's something that you can do where you're playing around someone, and then you're snowballing together the map. So play around... Nice. The door ringed. My package is here. Great. Okay, where was I again? Win conditions. Okay, we were talking about win conditions, right? But I mean, that covers it. Just play around the person who's winning. Don't play around the loser, because the loser is gonna grief you even further down. I mean, sometimes you can help them out, but 90% of the times it's better to play around the person who's already winning. I know the person is gonna cry, "Where's my jungler? Jungler help me! Jungler help me!" Just mute them. Just mute them. Okay, this one is also very important. The next one is taking the right team fights. Don't take Clown Fiesta team fights, take fights you can take, or avoid fights you cannot win. When does this apply? The best case is you're playing split pushers and assassins, and all of your teammates are like, "We need the dragon! We need to fight with the dragon!" And I'm telling you, just trade and go for the Herald instead. let's say the enemy team come, they are like, they have Rakan, they have Amumu, they have Cannon, they have Galio, they have very strong team fight orientated team composition. Do you want to take the team fight against them? Do you want to flip the game for an Ocean Dragon? Do you want to flip the game just for Mountain Dragon? I know, by the way, the order is Mountain Dragon, then Inferno, then Ocean Dragon. On what's the best. Do you want to flip the game? You have a scale, or you have like a very scaling composition. Like you have a Vayne that is weak in the early game, and they have a Draven comparison. And then on top of that, you have a Zed, you have a Fiora. Do you really want to take the fight? Do you really want to take the fight? No, you don't want to take the fight. Get the Rift Herald, use it on the mid lane, open up the turret, open up the map, get the global gold, or open up the top turret if you guys want to. It really depends. But don't take bad team fights just for the sake of taking a team fight. I know all those Timmies are gonna cry, where's the dragon? Jungler, no dragon! Where's dragon? Dragon, no dragon! No, surrender! FF5! Oh my god, I just wanna surrender! Oh, jungler, so bad! Why no dragon? Enemy to dragon! But we have three turrets. I'm gonna show you some clips, by the way, of when I traded. I gave them the Ocean Dragon because I thought, okay, I don't want to flip a team fight. I got the Herald and I got 3 turrets out of it. I mean, that's the optimal case, but usually if you get 1 turret or 2 turrets out of this, it's very good. Because from the Herald you're getting gold, from the turret you're getting gold as well, plus the first turret gold. So everyone in your team is getting gold, and yourself, you are getting gold plus the plating gold. So that's a lot of gold you're getting, and they are only getting the Ocean Dragon. That's barely benefiting them. Plus, you're avoiding a bad team fight that you shouldn't have taken. This also applies for in the mid and late game for other dragons, or even for the Baron sometimes. Don't take fights that you cannot take. If you are if you are playing Amumu though, if you're playing a team fight oriented jungler, then maybe you can force it. But then it also depends on what your teammates are playing. If your teammates are playing shit champions that are not good in team fights, don't go for that fight, even if you have Amumu. But if your teammates have, like, you have a Rakan or Alistar, you have a Cannon, and you're Amumu, go for the team fight, go for it, go flip it. You're probably gonna win it because you have the better team fight composition. I'm trolling, but yeah, I gave shutdown. That's not good. But like I said, know when to take team fights. Know what objectives are worth fighting for. And a lot of times it's not worth inting a fight or clowning around the dragon just for the sake of dragon. Instead, focus on farming, because the more gold you have, the more items you have, and the more likely you are to carry the game. It's very important. That's why you see all the top players, they have a very high gold per minute. Especially as a jungler, or as a jungler, 900. Like if you have 800 plus GPM, that's already solid. If you have 900 or 1000, you're doing really, really good. But at the same time, just focusing on farming is not everything. You also need to have good teamfight participation. Like, you need to control the map. So get the turrets, get the objectives, farm well, join team fights, counter gang, everything. You need to have the whole package. That's very important. And then play the map correctly. Objective/snowball. What does it mean? Don't clown around for kills. Don't chase kills. Try to get the turrets. The whole point of getting kills is to either farm the enemy jungle more, take the farm, secure turrets. Play around the turrets, because turrets equals more map control equals more pressure, and more pressure equals better trap potential, and you can just carry the game well better. And next point is, don't follow donkeys. I mean, the gameplay can end here. Don't follow donkeys means, if someone is inting and just forces a shit team fight, or if someone's over chasing, or if someone is fighting a 1 versus 4, 1 versus 5, just let that guy die and focus on farming. Go on the other side of the map. Cross-objective trading. Cross-objective trading is a word that people need to understand. If someone is getting a dragon, you can go get the Rift Herald instead and get another turret instead. Or they're getting the dragon, you just get the top turret instead. Or they're getting Baron, you're getting Elder instead. Or you're getting Elder, they're getting Baron instead. It really depends. For example, if 3 of your inhibitor turrets are down, get the Baron so you can push out the turrets. That's way better than the Elder. Or trying to get the Baron to end the game is also important, but usually you want to trap, catch some people off beforehand, then you have the man advantage, and then you can just go for the Baron. But I think this summarizes everything pretty neatly. Otherwise, if you guys are missing something, you guys can definitely check out my 2 other 1-hour videos where I'm talking about I talked about everything. I talked about the path thing, I talked about ganking paths, I talked about macro, I talked about GPM there. Yeah, just check out my pro guides playlist where I'm talking about everything. But I think this summarizes the macro part of jungling pretty neatly without it being 1 hour. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you guys want to see more, then definitely make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And write down below in the comments if you guys enjoyed this gameplay. I think I summarized everything pretty quickly. And maybe you guys can tell me if you guys want it to be longer and even more in depth, but I think I've covered everything, and I'll try to edit some clips in between the points so you guys can understand what I'm talking about better. But it's hard to find for every scenario the perfect clip. Do you guys feel me? But yeah, see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.